the elevator, and there's two individuals that are in the same conference. I bump into them, I see that they've got their agenda with them, and they say, yeah, I'm going to the UBC Millwrights Pile Driver Conference. And I said to them, I said, well, what do you do? They said, well, we're a diving service. And I said, yeah, you know what, guess what? I'm with Ontario Power Generation. I used to run a diving service in OPG, and so we get talking, and you get to exchange contacts, and that's what this is really about. So I'm looking forward to meeting more people, and continuing the conversation about what we do and how we can continue to collaborate. All right, so OPG's Climate Change Action Plan. You see a lot of numbers there. You heard a lot about 2040, 2050, what does it all mean? OPG is committed to achieving a net zero carbon economy or company by 2040. So what does that mean? It means electrification. And electrification for us means generation, increased generation. And what does generation mean? An increased generation? That means construction. And construction in nuclear in particular. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about SMRs today. I'm going to talk to you about what it looks like, what our plans are, where we are, current state, and then we'll talk about what the future looks like as well. And it's a really, really exciting future for us, a really exciting future. And an exciting future for us because we know it's going to be jobs and it's going to be opportunity. So, decarbonization of Ontario's electricity system. I just mentioned that electrification is a big part of that. So as you can see from this graph here, we actually have to double and then maybe even triple our capacity that are generating our output by 2040 and 2050. It's a big task, but we're up for it. We've got a really strong team behind us in OPG. We work collaboratively with vendors, we work collaboratively with the union partners, and for us, we see a big future here, and we know we're going to be able to achieve these targets. So, SMRs. You heard a little bit about what's going on across Canada. I just want to talk a little bit about the SMRs and where we're going. In particular, you can see that there's a number of different types of SMRs that are going to be potentially planned across the country. For us in Ontario, the one that we're looking at right now is called an on-grid small modular reactor. And the type of technology that we've chosen is the GE Hitachi BWXR 300. We figure and we feel that that's the best technology for us to carry forward. And we're going to build one starting right now. And we're going to be building one right at Darlington, and we're going to be looking to take that technology across the country. We wouldn't have an SMR though if we didn't demonstrate our project excellence and our construction excellence on our Darlington refurbishment project. Who here's heard about the Darlington refurbishment project? Show of hands. So the Darlington refurbishment project is really about the life extension of the Darlington nuclear power plant. It's 4-unit utility. It operates at about 970 megawatts each for each unit. And we had to really basically rip apart all of the reactors. So we're in the midst, we finished unit 2. We're in the midst of putting unit 3 back on the grid. Unit 1 is down, and we're looking to bring down Unit 4 in July this year. It's important that we demonstrate our project excellence and our construction excellence in order to meet the targets that are shown here. So $12.8 billion project, we cannot go 1 cent over that target. And that is part of our mandate in making sure that we have project excellence. And that's tight schedules, that's partnerships, that's collaboration, that's understanding what the construction looks like. And for us to demonstrate confidence to the province of Ontario, we have to meet these targets. And we're on our way right now. It's been an extremely successful project, and I'll say a number of people that are in the room here today have been a big part of that success. So, small modular reactors. I just kind of gave you a little bit of an insight into the on-grid SMR. But there's two other types of technologies that are going to be out there. So advanced reactors and off-grid SMRs. The advanced reactor and off-grid SMRs are smaller, much smaller, and they're going to be used for mostly localized type applications. And what I would say is that, for us, we have to generate big. We'll look to generate small in order to gain capacity to support, regions where there's remote locations where they need high sources of power and generation. But for us, I'm going to just focus today on the on-grid SMR and what that looks like. So the on-grid SMR is about 300 megawatts of power per unit. It's a boiling water reactor, and it's a little bit different than what we have for our conventional CANDU reactors. As I mentioned, the one at Darlington operates at about 970 megawatts per unit, and that is a pressure-heavy water reactor. So it's the technology is different. The type of fuel that we're using in a VWR 300X is going to be enriched uranium, whereas in CANDU system we use natural uranium. So it's a big deal, right? Slightly different in terms of how we figure out how we control waste, and we're working through those plans. But I'll say, you think small modular reactor, it's small. It's actually really not that small. It's about the size of a football field.
Wow.
And that's a pretty big thing to comprehend, because when everybody's thinking about small modular reactors, we're going to put something that's maybe the size of the stage. It's really not. It's about the size of a football field. And at Darlington in particular, we're going to have to dig down about 40 meters to get to bedrock. So it's going to be a pretty deep reactor, and it's designed that way because the boiling water reactor uses gravity feed, or almost pressure head, to be able to circulate the water, whereas in CANDU we have a bunch of pumps and valves that circulate the water through the system. So that construction that we're talking about, digging 40 meters into bedrock, is a big challenge for us at Darlington. But what does that mean in terms of people? Well, an SMR, just one unit. We're just building one unit right now. We're potentially building 3 others at Darlington, but right now we're building one. It means 700 jobs during planning. It means 1,600 jobs during manufacturing and construction. And it means about 200 jobs during operation. And if I were to talk to you about the construction, because you'd say, well, where's the modular come into play? Modular is, I'll say, the opportunity to do a lot of prefabrication, whether that's off-site or on-site. And I was recently at Hinkley Point C in England. They're doing a lot of modular construction there. So a lot of ideas that we've seen so far, looking out at the industry, what does modular look like? I can tell you right now, at Hinkley C, there's a massive crane. They were installing reactor components, in particular the reactor vessels, the reactor containment systems, manufacturing them, and then taking a central crane that basically picked up that prefab piece and lifted it into place where the reactor is going to be. I expect that we're going to be doing similar things. The most effective way to do the construction is what we're looking at, because we have to be on time, on budget, and we have to demonstrate again that we can do this at a low cost and very efficiently. So we look forward to that challenge. We've got a couple of years away before we actually start the real construction, and it's going to be really exciting. So as you can see from the picture here, this is where the Darlington New Nuclear Project is going to be located. So Darlington is about 50 kilometers east of Toronto, for those that haven't been to Canada. And it is located about, I would say, maybe about 1 to 2 kilometers, give or take, away from the Darlington Nuclear Power Plant right now. So for us, right now, the way that, where we are in terms of construction, we basically prepped the site at this point. We've cleared and grubbed the land, and we're moving forward into the power block. We're going to start moving forward into the underground utilities, but we will not be starting the actual construction until 2024 when we actually have an approved license to construct. So that's our roadmap. 2021 was a big year, a lot of approvals, a lot of hard work went into getting, establishing the technology that we're going to use. We moved into 2022, preparations for a license to construct. And there's a big component here that I really want to talk a little bit about, and that is what we call an integrated project delivery model. Now, I'm sure a lot of people in the room here have worked, potentially under an integrated project delivery model, but for us in nuclear, it's a little bit different. This means that we are going to be working collaboratively in a partnership, equal stakeholders with the vendors, as an owner, us being OPG, with the designer being GE Hitachi, and working together to develop not only the design, but construction-led mentality. And that's where we're going, and I'll say, it's unique because it's a change in culture for us and how we do it. We saw an integrated project delivery model somewhat, that teamwork, one team that we call, we've coined the phrase at Darlington, one team. It's similar to that, but it's going to be like hyper active in terms of that partnership for an integrated project delivery model. So I talked a little bit about the look ahead for 2023. That integrated project delivery model, we just finalized the contractual agreements in December 2022, and now we're going to build the team. And we're building the team because it's early intervention right now that's important. It's early design, it's planning for construction, it's putting all of our best people in the best possible spots to succeed. So you're wondering, what's this all? What's commitment to Indigenous relations? What does that mean? So for us, the new nuclear project, the refurbishment project, any project that we do across Ontario, we don't start unless we have a partnership with our Indigenous partners. So in particular, at Darlington New Nuclear, we are working with the nations of the Williams Treaty, and we work tightly with them to get their support, get their feedback, build trust, we're building relationships. In fact, we're helping to support some of our prime vendors on site to help with developing some of the Indigenous vendors that are located in Ontario, getting them on the approved supplier list, getting them working with some of the big vendors that we have that support us on projects in OPG. And for us, that's a big deal, that we continue to build that relationship. From the trades perspective, we are totally 100% behind and bought into our ION program. Has anybody heard of the Indigenous Opportunities Network? Show of hands. So we have a number of people that we look to, stakeholder with the unions, working with them to help work with our ION program in order to get more Indigenous people into the trades. So that's our commitment to the Indigenous community. And I'd say finally, community. Darlington is located, roughly, maybe 10, 15 kilometers from our nearest neighbors, so people. And we want to make sure that we maintain a good relationship with our community. So you see here, OPG and GE Hitachi donated, I can't see the number here, 2,700 meals for Feed the Need in Durham region, which is where Darlington is located. That's important, that we build the trust with our community, and we have that partnership. And we continue to do that as a company at OPG. We're invested in it, and it's not just because of the community, it's not just because of that, it's because we care about the environment, we care about people, and that's going to continue on as we continue to move forward through the Darlington Nuclear Project. So finally, deliver a world-class SMR together. That is our mandate. That is our goal, and I am extremely excited about the possibilities of what SMRs can be, not only at Darlington, but across Ontario and the rest of Canada. So with that, I thank you for your time and really appreciate all of your listening. Thank you.